Hi everybody, Doug Miles along with Don Henderson. We're here at Ed Smith Stadium. It is opening day of the spring training 2020. Games officially started yesterday, Saturday, but first home game of the season for the Baltimore Orioles as they open up against the Boston Red Sox, a very interesting team, the Red Sox. Everybody's been following that in the offseason with the managerial changes and all the things going on there. But Don, always great to be back here and see the first game of spring.
Yeah, it is, and of course the controversy continues with the Red Sox and also with the Astros, as you well know. They played yesterday, and well, as you and I chatted in the press room, Baltimore's looking toward a long season again this year because they've got some youngsters in the minor leagues, but they're going to struggle at the top.
Yeah, we've been following them this week, workouts, a lot of the interviews with the players. Obviously, they always say the same thing, getting ready for the season. We're optimistic. Brandon Hyde, the manager that came in after Buck Showalter left now 2 seasons ago. Another rough season last year for the Orioles and over 100 games lost. And didn't do a lot of player acquisitions in this offseason, so it could be more of the same.
Yeah, Brandon Hyde got through last year. I thought he did a great job of not showing the frustration of losing over 100 games that you indicated. And that is very difficult to do. You can't come in and just keep losing and losing and losing. And it may be more difficult for him this year because he even has more younger players.
Right.
And, if they go into another season where they lose close to 100 games, that's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, you wonder, and we'll see some of the Orioles fans here, obviously. You come down for a nice little vacation, but what kind of optimism can you have as an Orioles fan going into another season like this? The off-season, no real acquisitions. You really got to be a baseball fan to follow a team like this.
Well, as we came into the press room today, Boog Powell, as you pointed out, was going out toward the stadium, and we'll be out there in a few minutes. But at the same time, you remember the glory days when Boog Powell was playing, and all the great players they had in Baltimore, and the great teams they had in Baltimore, and the great pitching staffs they had in Baltimore. And this is really a very, very difficult transition.
Yeah, Boog opened Sarasota version of his restaurant last year here, and we just saw him. And of course, this is the 50th anniversary of Orioles winning in 1970. That great team they had with, of course, Boog and Brooks Robinson, Frank Robinson. After they lost to the Mets the next year, they won it all.
Yeah, and
beat the Reds.
It's an anniversary here for the Orioles as well because this is 10 years. Hard to believe that it was 10 years ago the Cincinnati Reds were here and left for Goodyear, Arizona.
Right.
And the Orioles at that time were over at Vero Beach, which was not conducive to spring training, and they came over here. Of course, the city of Sarasota did a lot of improvements on the stadium. They jumped in about $40 million into the stadium, and it has been voted the last few years as the best, minor league setup for spring training.
Yeah, always gives the great accolades for the way it has redesigned the ballpark.
Yeah.
Mentioned the Red Sox, of course, the off-season controversy involved with potential cheating and all that. Of course, they fired their manager, and now Ron Renicky, the interim manager, longtime baseball guy, is going to take over for the team, at least for this season. They still really haven't come down, the commissioner's office, with any punishment for the Red Sox, so that's kind of hanging over their heads. Yeah,
that's supposed to be announced this week. He had said when he was here in the early part of last week that there would be 10 days that he would make some decisions on the Red Sox. They didn't have the entire investigation completed, and it's going to be interesting to see what he does come up with. And he's already set the precedent for, what the suspensions are going to be and that type of thing. And I think the Orioles, or I think the Red Sox did the right thing. Renicky is a baseball man. The same thing the Orioles or the Astros did when they brought Dusty Baker in. So I think they're leaning toward 2 really veteran managers that can take care of the turf well.
Interesting to see. We saw yesterday reading some of the stories about the Astros getting really heckled and booed in their first spring game over, ironically, against the Nationals. They share a spring training facility in West Palm, and Dusty Baker basically just put in a bunch of rookies and lesser-known players. Didn't put any of the starters in yesterday, so they already got heckled for that. Interesting to see what the Red Sox, how they are treated today here in Sarasota.
And he also has been emphasizing all week that this is, the commissioner made his decision. The commissioner made his decision. Let's move on. We cannot continue every day to ask the players about what happened or to ask the management what happened. Everybody knows what happened. They know what the situation is. The commissioner knows what the situation is. we got to move on from here. Now the Red Sox are not in that position because the commissioner hasn't made his
We don't know
decision.
exactly what he's found out yet.
Exactly.
We know the Astros, most of it, maybe not all of it, but and again, a lot of talk. You and I watch all the sports talk shows. A lot of talk about vacating the title in 2017. I think most of the fans wouldn't be against that, but that's probably not going to happen.
No, he's not going to do that. He already announced that. Definitely, they're not going to take the 17 title away. I think it's going to be interesting to see whether it moved on to 18 and 19. So far, they've really spent very little time.
They just did that 1 year.
Yeah, they're saying it's all in that 1 year, but I'm going to wait and see. I think that's part of the investigation for the Red Sox. You know, did Alex move when he left the Astros and came into Fenway Park? Did he bring this with him?
Right.
And so I think that's part of the investigation. I don't know that, but there's got to be something more to it than we've heard.
I think the Astros players got to do a better job of just kind of keep it quiet too. They're getting a little arrogant about this. You know, just shut your mouth.
Especially
you apologized
the owner.
already. The owner did a terrible job in that press conference. You know, you got caught. You know, own up to it a little bit more and don't be arrogant now. Just kind of be quiet and play ball.
The commissioner was terrible. The owner was terrible. The whole situation.
Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong with that whole thing.
They certainly did. They went in the wrong direction.
We're going to see the Mets at the end of spring training coming over here to Sarasota. Of course, they had a small part in it with Carlos Beltran getting fired before he even got to start as manager. Of course, he was with the Astros in 2017, so that'll be interesting to see what goes on there. They got a new manager with Rojas.
That's a real shame because here's a fellow that had a great major league career and always wanted to manage and he was a New Yorker and in the sense that he played for the Mets and the Yankees.
Right.
He wanted to manage in New York. He said it was the only team he would take an interview with. He gets the job, and then, unfortunately, this happens and they have to fire him. And is that going to carry over into any of the other jobs he may want to get in the future? I don't know.
Yeah, I would guess he's going to be sitting out a while before he gets there. And I wouldn't feel sorry for him. He's got plenty of money being a ball player. But, yeah, you're right. He did want to be a manager.
Oh, absolutely. And plus, he obviously didn't want his whole career stained with what happened here, even though he was a major part of it. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Down the road, of course, we talked about it last year. The Atlanta Braves built a new home in Northport. They played one game, the last spring game last year, but this is the first full year here in our area. Of course, fans of Atlanta, I'm sure, interested in that. I wonder how many are going to make the trip down to see the Braves.
I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing. They've gotten great publicity. Hank Aaron was in town. They named the street after Hank.
Aaron Way over there?
Yeah,
like that?
And they've done a great job of getting them out front. Everybody that we've talked to that's been down there, Doug Fernandez for one, who is the columnist here with the Herald. He's been there. I think he covered yesterday's game. I didn't see the paper yet today, but I think he covered yesterday's game. And but they have really given him a great deal of publicity. Everything so far has been very, very positive.
Yeah, Braves, of course, a team that came back last year.
Yes.
Contending team, so interesting to see how that worked. Of course, their neighbors a little bit, I guess, further south, the Rays, train out in Port Charlotte, and not a lot of talk about the Rays in the offseason. They didn't do a lot of acquisitions. They got rid of a couple of players. So, but again, Cash did a great job last year, again, as a manager, and winning over 90 games, but see how they do this year.
Their biggest loss may be their general manager.
Right.
Because we've talked about it before. They now have three.
Under the Red Sox.
Yeah, they now have three general managers down through the years and starting in Los Angeles. So they have three general managers who were here who are now managing clubs elsewhere with a heck of a lot more money to work with.
Yeah, so we'll see how the Rays go, but again, they work with such a comparatively small payroll, but the last 3 or 4 years they've done a great job.
Impossible. I mean, Cash has done an impossible job. In fact, all the managers have done and general managers. And you're talking over between 67 and maybe 78, 80 million dollars total. Yankees payroll, Red Sox payroll, they're all up close to 200 million.
Yep.
You know?
Right.
And here they are, they're winning 90 plus games. Of course, we'll see what happens. The Yankees are scheduled to win 101, but now with the pitching staff in a little bit of trouble, we'll see what happens now.
The Yankees also come here to Sarasota once during the schedule. We'll get to see them, and your former team, the Phillies, also come down. Joe Girardi making his debut as the manager.
Really looking forward to that. I think they made the best move of the whole off season. I believe that Joe Girardi is one of the top managers in all of baseball, And if anybody can move the Phillies in the right direction, it's Joe Girardi. And I think they made a home run.
Don and I will be here throughout the entire spring. We'll do some video reports as we go along. And again, another beautiful day. You can't ask for a better baseball day today. About, 65 degrees right now? Let's play two.
They hit a home run because yesterday when they opened up Port Charlotte, as you said, it was a little chilly.
A little cold.
But today's
for
beautiful.
Florida. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's our report for right now. For Don Henderson, I'm Doug Miles. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon. Stay with us.